welcome back guys. So today I'm going to be taking you through how to apply bronzer, blusher, any shape, dimension to the skin and the face in a very easy, basic way that you can understand. So I've done my foundation, my concealer, and my makeup is set. And what I mean by set is it's not sticky or anything like that, so it's completely ready for the rest of the makeup to go on. You're going to be using a bronzer. If any of you have got a contour powder, which is specifically for contour, then please bring that to the table as well. And then some blush, just bring all your blushes to the table, and then I'll kind of like speak about how to use up old ones and things like that. So let's start. So I always use the same brush which I've set my makeup with to do the rest of my makeup. So I literally use one brush the whole way through. So this brush I've used to do my setting powder and everything like that, and now I'm going to use it for the rest. So Laguna bronzer from NARS. This one, Laguna colour, is very well known because it is a cool tone bronzer. This is my preference over the top, but whatever you've got, good to go. So we're going to grab our brush, load up the product, and remember what I always say, do not be scared of the product. The area where I always start my bronzer is up on the forehead. Why? Because that is always going to be the darkest area of anybody's face, because that's where the sun goes. So by us going there first of all and shadowing in, we're going to be kind of judging how much the bronzer is taking on our skin. And then that way, if you've got too much on the brush or anything, you just know for next time before you start taking it down here. So I'm laying my brush once again so that the tip is towards the back near my hairline. And you want to always make sure that with your bronzer, you're blending it into the hairline. And the reason being, you might have a much fairer sort of scalp, and then you can see the difference. So let's just buff it up. Now you can see that I'm working around my face and missing this middle area here. We want the light to naturally be there. It doesn't mean that we miss it completely and like sculpt out a triangle on our head, but we don't aim the brush in the middle. I always bring my bronzer down by the sides of my eyes into this area here where I kind of come down. Now my brush is changing motion into a circular motion, and I am following the natural shadow. If you're ever weary of where that shadow is, or you can't see it with the naked eye, the middle of the ear will kind of tell you where it is. And then if you pop your jaw like that, you'll feel it separate. And you'll feel that's where my bone is. That's where we want to kind of go. Now you don't want to go lower than the bone. So you really want to be blending, not a line. That's why my brush is going in a circular motion, so that I'm getting a really nice even spin off of colour rather than a back and forth. And so nice circles round. Now I'm bringing it kind of to, I would say 2 fingers away from the nostril, but it really doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you get it closer than what I get it, but you want to kind of like spin it in. Then I'm working my way back. I'm going down this side area here, so our jawline. I haven't added on any more product though, so I'm just using what's left to sculpt the jaw. Now when I'm going on the jawline, my brush is kind of going bang in the middle of the jaw, so I'm just kind of like, just be careful with this bit though, because if you, it's really attractive. So if you do that, you will see a massive difference in your face if you haven't done it right. So back to where I always like to pull this back so that I can see where the angle is going to be. Circular motions, not back and forth. And we're bringing it forward. Also, it can be used for if you have a particularly round face, or like me, I have a very long face. I shade off the bottom of my chin, because wherever you put the shadow is going to push it back. So if you want stronger, more snatched in cheekbones, put the shadow there. Yeah, so for example, that shadow makes me look like I'm going in. If there was no shadow there, it wouldn't look like that. I could pull that face, but it still wouldn't look like it. So just add more or less, wherever you need it. But you can now see that my face has got more shape to it compared to what it had in the beginning. So a contour is different to a bronzer. A bronzer will give you the bronzed effect, and it will to a certain extent give you dimension and shape, but a contour is designed with the tone of it to absorb the light. I'm only using a contour for the benefit of the video. In general, everyday life, I don't wear a contour. I find it's unnecessary, and I also find that it can look quite obvious in real life. So the contour I'm using is one of my favorites actually. It's called Talia, and the tone of it is super, super cool. So it's a cold tone, so it really will grab that effect. Using the same brush as always. I'm going to come a bit closer that you can see. So I'm using the very, very tip of my brush, and I'm very gently gonna just pick up a bit. Do not underestimate contour powders, they really do come out. So where my bronzer already is, I'm gonna follow there. Now my stroke is really soft, and I'm not just going back and forth, I'm doing tiny little circles. So you can see what difference that has done. So I don't like to bring it so far forward. Mainly I have a really narrow face, so it just wouldn't look great. Also, I do take it up along the cheekbone, and the main reason for that is that I don't want it to look like a really dark, severe line, nothing worse. So other side, you can see where my bronzer naturally is. Make sure that you're keeping it quite like thick, as in width thick, so that you're creating a shadow, not just a harsh line. So the contour is on. Now, other places you could contour is, like I was saying earlier, I can, ever want to get excess product off, and that's what I always do. So my chin, if I could, any surgeons out there, I would cut off a certain amount of it. So I ain't got time for that, so I am going to contour it off. It's not going to be magic, it's not going to like get rid of it, or otherwise I would wear contour every day, but it will in photos and things like that, just slightly soften and blend it away. The other area you would do is back here, so I tend to go here, so kind of like middle of the eyebrow up. I think understanding the natural bone structure in your skull is going to help you understand where light should go and stuff. Perfect. That's enough contour for me. Like I said, I'm not a huge fan of wearing it day to day. It's great for function, it's great for when you're having photos taken, but in general day to day things, I won't tend to go near it that much. So then after you've done your bronzer and your contour and you've got the right amount of shading and definition in, you're going to apply blush. I tend to go for quite pink blushes because that's what makes me feel pretty. It really does depend on how you feel and which one you're more drawn to. The same goes for if you want a matte or a shimmer. I prefer more shimmer. Why? I go for a very glowy look, so it helps support what I want in the long run. Rule of thumb is kind of go for what makes you feel pretty. One of the best blushes, and I think it is actually the best selling in the world, is the NARS Orgasm blusher, which is this one here. So it's got a gold iridescence to it, but it's predominantly pink. Now, the reason for this blusher being so popular is that it will go on the majority of skin tone. When it photographs, it can kind of disappear. So if I'm going to a wedding or an event or something, or I'm working on a bride, orgasm will be involved, but there'll be something else in the background just to give it a level to sit on. Now, the majority of my blushes are like this because I carry them around to work and stuff like that. So I'm not expecting you to have that many blushes, so whatever you've got is good. But remember I said to bring all your blushes to the table. So if you've got 2 there, that's fab. If you've got 1, don't worry. For me personally, I do it to just brighten up the face and make me feel a little bit more feminine, a little bit more pretty. First off, I have got not only Orgasm here, I've also got another NARS colour here, which is called Dolce Vita. Now, Dolce Vita is more of a darker sort of tone as opposed to Orgasm. So what I'm asking you to do is look at your blushes and find out which one is the stronger one. So which one has less shimmer, or which one has a slightly deeper tone, or something like that. So I'm going to start off with Dolce Vita. And we are going to put the darker blush, which you have, the stronger out of the blushes that you've got. We're going to take the tip of the brush and we are going to go to the same place, the exact same place where we were putting that contour. So we're going to go quite far back. So on it goes. Now, motion again is always going back towards my hairline. And with blusher, I tend to go quite high up. So I go up around here. I just think that it suits my face. And I think it's very surprising. Like when it's first suggested to people, they're like, oh no, because it's a bit 80s. But I just find that when you're out and about and you're moving around, it just moves a lot more, and when the sun catches you, it doesn't look like a block of makeup. It's more sort of blended into the rest of the skin. So you can see that that's taken. So same thing again. So the darker colour you're keeping at the back of the face. It's like the transition between the colours. So it just kind of gives you something to hold on to. Now I feel like I need a little bit more on this side. Right, so now we're going to go with one of the more gentler ones out of the 2, or something more shimmery, or just the softer one. So same part of the brush again, I'm going to pick it up, and we are going to go, so here is the back part of the blush, the back part here. We're now going to start aiming it for just over the top of it, but a little bit further forward. We're not going to come right into the middle, because we don't want to take that light away, but we are going to just scoop over and join these 2, just so that we don't have a very kind of like back face, which does look more 80s. Now we're going to gently, so you see when I smile, we want a little bit of colour there, or otherwise it looks a bit odd. And I do that really creepy smile thing to myself when I do this. There we go. So now you can see that it's more gentle on that side. So then what I kind of do as a finisher, I take off product on my hand, and then I kind of brush everything over, mush it up, as I always say. Make sure that everything is all blended through and it all looks nice and smooth. So there you have it. You have your bronzer, your blush, everything all in one go, but it's all connected, and when I move, it moves. So by using a much more stronger colour in the background, as opposed to just one blush all over the top, you'll get a smooth transition between the 2 colours, which will make the whole face look more streamlined. So I really hope that you've enjoyed this one, and I hope I've kind of made that simple enough to follow and to understand. Please like and share this video, and also subscribe if you haven't. So you guys enjoy having shape to your face. Don't be scared of the product, just go for it. Any questions, pop it in the comments or send me a message and I'll be more than happy to get back to you. Have a good day. But I'm specifically, I'm missing this middle area.